It's 3:30 in the morning right now. Have to be very quiet because our neighbours are asleep. And we're just going to sneak out, start the engine out there, and then start. So, it's looking good so far weather-wise. England lost last night. Not impressive. But there we go. Such is life. I'm not a big football fan, but I like to watch the finals in the Euros and the Worlds. There we go. Let's get going. Well, we're off to a nice start. You know, the rain has gone away. It was raining a little bit overnight. Best if it rains overnight rather than, you know, in the day. And yeah, we're just heading south now, so we're roughly on 80% battery charge. So I'm going to charge the batteries up fully, get south a bit, get out to sea, or when we're almost out to sea, then we'll raise the sails and, you know, set course, and hopefully the wind will hold in a south-southwesterly direction for as long as we can before we have to motor or we have to tack or something like that. So yeah, nothing else to say really, just got to strap the dinghy down because it will slide around a bit. So, you know, I got some straps here. They're not perfect, I guess, but just cheap straps to anchor it down. Alright guys, yes, it's July and I'm wearing a hat and a big coat in the morning in the sun. That's Sweden for you. So there's some big swells still from yesterday out here, you know, probably 2-meter swells, and we're just struggling to make progress in the wind here. The wind is blowing between 6 and 10 knots. And when we're ploughing into waves like this, it's just not enough to have the jib and the mainsail up. And then in a few hours, the wind's going to shift south as well. So I'm going to get the code 0 up and see what we can do with that. And hopefully get the boat moving without the engine on, with the sails up, you know. I don't really like motor sailing. I don't really want to do it all the way to Gotska Sandön. So let's get that code 0 up. It's going to be a bit of a challenge in this swell, but we'll get it done. Code 0 is up now, but we can't make our course towards Gotska Sandön because the wind is too far in the southerly direction now. So we've got to make our best, and then probably motor in the rest, or maybe tack. But you know, all that work up there doing the code 0 is pretty damn hard, to be honest. Especially at sea. You know, it takes 3 times as long to do anything up there. So it made me a little seasick, to be honest, while I was up there. So I just need to calm down now and settle in a bit, and try and enjoy the sail, but it's a bit lumpy. Ollie's a little seasick. I think he's getting better now. The boat's got a lot smoother. It was wallowing around before. How you doing, Tanya? Not great. You can see our course just on the right there, but we can't go any further upwind than this. It just gets really uncomfortable, and the Code Zero doesn't like it either, so doing our best. Land ho! Yeah, so guys, we haven't been filming that much on this passage. You know, the Code Zero has taken us more or less all the way to Gotska Sandön, but we couldn't get the angle directly to the island, so we ended up about 8 nautical miles south or something like that. So we've got an hour to motor a bit north. But that's much better than motoring all the way, that's for sure. So yeah, we should be there in an hour or so. When you feel a bit seasick and you feel a bit rough, you don't really want to get drones out and stuff like that and get the camera out too much, actually, although we should have. But yeah, it's been fairly uneventful, apart from the large swells. You know, the swell went down a bit towards the end, that was nice, but yeah, we'll be happy to get there.
Very happy. I'll be very happy when the anchor is down.
Yeah? I think Ollie will as well. It's quite interesting, guys, that somehow the water in Stockholm was around 13 degrees when we left this morning. It was getting really cold because of the wind. Now the water temperature is up to 17 out in the middle of the Baltic next to Gotska Sandön. It's really, really strange how the currents are working underneath and how the temperature is changing. Might even go for a swim.
Are you talking about how you're going swimming?
No.
Because it's so warm in the water.
Well, maybe. Check this place out, guys. We're back again in pretty much exactly the same spot as last time, maybe a bit further in. There's 2 meters under the keel, which is more than good enough, I think. And in 4 meters of water, I put 30 meters of chain out, so should be enough, I think. But yeah, it's a bit windy, but the wind is due to drop off tomorrow, so I'm not too worried about that. It's just beautiful. The sun's out. Look at this, guys. Tanya's dealing with the snubber right now. Yeah, perfect. And then we'll get the dinghy in. And Ollie's got to go for a wee. Over there, you can see there's a bunch of seals as well. Hello.
Hello.
You made a little picnic site here?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's good to get some food and some ginger beer after God knows how many hours of seasickness.
Greeny blue water. It's just like you're somewhere completely different. It's so surreal. probably a good idea to run like some kind of dinghy security there, right? So you got your front rope on there, and then you've got some kind of securing rope. When you're in places like this, when there's nobody around, you know, literally, I think there's one boat on the other side of the island somewhere. You're really on your own, you know, and it's a special kind of feeling a little bit where if shit happens, you've got to take care of it yourself. You know, you've got to be prepared. You've got to have everything available. I mean, yes, you can only take care of so much, but the simple problems, and you've got to make sure that everything is in line. You don't get into trouble, you know, you don't get too much anchor line out, so you end up aground or something like that. I mean, somebody will probably help you, but it's not like when you're, you know, in the archipelago when there's help just next to you, or, you know, you can go 1 or 2 nautical miles, or, you know, the Coast Guard, or the Sjöräddningstjänsten, we call it in Sweden, the equivalent of the RNLI in the UK, or the lifeboats basically. They're not just around the corner out here, so, you know, you need to really think about off-grid living a little bit, and I like that feeling. It's pretty special. What are you cooking?
Pasta bolognese. And because we have fresh herbs on board, even though you don't like my little garden.
I love your little garden, honey.
It's with fresh basil and fresh oregano.
Dinner has been served.
Yes.
Dinner with a partial sunset that is just about to disappear.
Are you the new dinghy engine?
Yep, indeed. It's actually easier to go up the beach with a dinghy that's not got an engine on, you know, just to lift it straight up, so not going to bother putting the engine on. And it's a bit of hassle too, so a bit lazy. Yeah, let's go and find this seal lookout thing. Be good.
Yes. We've been hearing them all morning, the seals.
Yeah, seals howl all night apparently. So, kind of glad that we didn't go too close, but you know, the boat in front of us has just gone on the border, I think, but yeah. And he's gone a little bit closer in, but with the amount of chain that we've got out on the boat, I think we've got 33 meters out on the boat, I'd rather have a bit more swinging room because the wind might come from the north later on tonight, so I don't really want to end up grounding, so yeah, beaching. So we're a little bit further out, which is fine. Just out for a little explore now on this beautiful day out here. I think it's really good that they protect the wildlife on this island because it is kind of special, this place. There's some unusual birds I've seen knocking around, and there's so many seals here, like more than I've ever seen in any other part of the Baltic, to be honest.
So in the seal protected area that we're going to, up against 150 seals have been spotted at one time. Oh, I have a B on my glasses. But normally you see 3 to 5 lying around on the rocks when it's calm weather, as it is today. So let's go and see. Evidence has been found that people have been coming here to hunt seals on Gotska Sandön as long back as to the Stone Age, so more than 4,000 years ago.
This is really what we dream of. This is why we do all the hard work with the boat. This is why we spend all the money, is when you get days like this where the wind is almost nothing and we're just out here enjoying the sun. It's got to be 22, 23 degrees. Doesn't sound a lot, but more than enough for us, for sure. Absolutely loving it here. The forecast is looking a little bit dicey during the night. There's a thunderstorm coming across and the winds will change direction towards the north. We're going to be on a lee shore, but it's only for a few hours and I'm not sure how much to trust the forecast on that or not. But the problem is the wind then shifts to the south in the middle of the night, so even if we move to the other side of the island, you know, I'm still not completely protected. So I think we'll stay here, rough it out for a few hours, maybe stay awake a little bit, stay on anchor watch, and then yeah, decide whether we need to move or not. And the solar panels, well, this one's 150 watt and I've lined it directly into the sun. Sun's up there, no clouds, nothing, and it's only putting out about 80 watts, so it should be close to 100% at that level. And maybe I need to clean the front of that a little bit and maybe that might help. But still, either there's a problem with that panel or it's just getting a bit less efficient with age. I'm not really sure. Well guys, plans change, and although we really want to stay at this beautiful place, and even though the wind has now switched to northerly a bit, it might get a bit stronger later on, but we've got to go with the weather. And tomorrow the wind is blowing up to 20 knots from the south, and although we can tack into it and possibly get some shelter from Fårö as we get closer in, we thought actually why not just use the wind as it is today, go downwind. I would rig up at the Jenica, but we really want to get moving. We might do that later, I don't know. But use the code 0 and just use the wind and just slowly make our way south. We've got 25 miles to go south. It's about 4 o'clock now, so in theory we could be there by about 9 or 10 o'clock, you know, if we catch this wind, and we can just sail straight down there. So it's a no-brainer really. Though I'd like to explore the lighthouse here, and I'd like to do the sand dunes and all kinds of things like that, but plans change, right? And I can come back another year. We can come back another year and enjoy this beautiful place once again. You know, I think it's time to get moving. And actually the sailboat that was anchored just over there gave me that exact idea, because he went out and I thought, why is he going out and where is he going? And he's probably thinking ahead of me with the same thoughts. Bye bye seal land. Hello. It's come to have a look at us maybe on the way out. Guys, I am cheating. I've got the motor on and I'm motor sailing with a code 0. It's not really ethical, you know, but being as we made the decision at last minute, we really want to get there before sort of 10 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock, when the thunderstorm and the rain starts coming in. So we need to make good speed, like 6-7 knots or something like that. The wind might fill in later on, but yeah. We're much rather enjoying this motor sail than bashing into it tomorrow, because the sea state is meant to get up to 2 meters from the south again tomorrow, so it just wouldn't have been a good crossing down to Fårö in that sea state. So yeah, here we are. What can I say? Another choice would have been to stay at Gotska Sandön, but with Ollie, we're not really meant to be on the island with him. And yes, he peed a couple of times on the beach, but that's about it, you know, so there's not really much to do for him there. So better we just move on. And one of the advantages of motoring is charging your batteries. And one of the upgrades I did over the winter is actually installed a large alternator. It's a Baumar CT250, I think it's called, but it's a 250 amp alternator. And let me tell you, it makes a huge difference in charging. You know, I can charge, I think she's charging at about 2.2 kilowatts at peak rate. That's because I've ramped it down a little bit, you know, to make the alternator last a bit longer and to keep the temperature down. But oh my god, it charges so fast, and it's taken away all our lithium charging problems, you know, meaning that we needed to get to a harbor every 4 or 5 days. If we do a little bit of motoring now in and out of an anchorage or in and out of a marina, or, you know, when we're doing short distances, we don't need to charge anymore. It's a huge difference, so I'm really happy with that installation, but there'll be another video separately talking about that one. Another fun fact of why I motor sail. So you see this fuel rate, it's down to 2 litres an hour at the moment, doing 7 knots. Without the sails, that would be up to about 3.8, I think, something like that. So it's saving quite a lot of fuel per hour. 2 hours into the sail, and we've actually decided that we're going to change course a little bit again. And we're going to go to a bay on the northern side of Fårö, because the day tomorrow is meant to be super nice. And we've seen that there's a lot of boats in Lautershamn, in the marina in Fårö. So we didn't really want to fight for a mooring at like 9 o'clock at night and things like that, you know, and try and get in there and then pay for a night where we're just getting there on the day, and then it's a bit of a waste that way. So we're going to go and anchor in a bay and check that out and see how that works out for us and plan from there.
We need to be spontaneous.
Yes.
Planning is good, and we have a plan, but the wind and the weather dictates a lot of the plan as well. So yeah, now we have a new plan.
Well, we just saw a seal on our way into Fårö. This is kind of bleak weather, and the bay looked a lot smaller than it is really on the chart.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, seal. Seal. Just popped his head up again.